All right. So, I think we should go ahead and get started and give Barry as much time as he needs. I know there's going to be a ton of questions and a ton of engagement. So we just want to go ahead and get started. This is part of, for those who don't know, this is part of Discover, um, which is our initiative for XR, anything XR media. So VR, augmented reality, and everything in between. And just to reiterate kind of the four pillars of the Discover program that TCN has one of the initiatives that we've started is the first pillar is to have young people and coordinator experiencing VR and AR and everything and the equipment or the platforms and just, kind of get an experience. The next pillar is to have the young people and coordinators actually creating it, because we know that VR, the headsets and everything can be really, that can, if used not productively, can be used, can be another TV set if we let it. So we really want to prioritize having platforms and speakers and exposure to the tools that have young people creating and producing with the work. The other one is just connectedness. So using VR to really start connecting with more members and staff around the network. And so there's things that we've been working on behind the scenes to get that started. And the last one is to expose young people to careers. So there's a variety of careers out there that are VR related. And so some of our speakers have been talking directly to that. We actually have a speaker next week that is going to be talking about XR in the gaming industry. So be on the lookout for that. And shout out to folks who have been helping us out on this Discover initiative. Barry has been a huge part of it here in Ireland, who's speaking to you today. And Gustavo has also been a huge help, and as well as our internal staff. Matt just joined, Jason, Alberto, and then, of course, Brendan behind the scenes. So without further ado, I am going to introduce you. Some of you who may have met Barry before, either in person at the annual conference or on these different talks. But Barry, I'll let him introduce, kind of his background to you. You've seen it in the description as well. But his amazing friend of the Clubhouse Network, a mad scientist, in this field, and an artist, and an incredible, curious collaborator. And so I'll hand it off to you, Barry, to be talking about Roblox and VR today.
Thank you, Jeff. Appreciate everyone for their time today. It's a real pleasure to have the opportunity to talk to you all about, I suppose, my journey into the world of Roblox. So hopefully you can see my screen. If you can't, or if I speak a little fast, which in Ireland we are very famous for speaking fast. Sometimes we don't even understand each other. Please don't hesitate to ask me to slow up a little bit. This is I suppose this next while is me talking through my experiences with Roblox and looking at Roblox from a creative, educational perspective, and with the idea that, with so many young people in this platform and on this platform, as educators and as professionals who work with young people, I think it's really essential that we start figuring out how we can kind of start supporting young people to be creators in these spaces, in these platforms, rather than just purely consumers. So with that in mind, I'll just do like a review of what we're going to do or look at this evening. Sorry, 1 second. Let me just move that down a little bit. So you should be able to see my full screen now. So we're going to look at Roblox, what is Roblox Studio. Again, this is coming from I've been looking at Roblox and Roblox Studio for about 2 years now. I am not an expert in Roblox, and I think with that there's a little bit of flexibility and freedom. And I was just speaking with Jeff and Gustavo earlier that like I think the guiding star here really is if I can do this, anyone can do this. So hopefully there'll be something here for everyone to kind of maybe learn from. There could be something that I miss. By all means, let me know, and it'd be some good learning for me. But today we're going to look at Roblox and Roblox Studio. I'm going to do a demo. I've built out a little obstacle course using the Roblox terminology. It's an obby. And finally, this could be a crash and burn moment, but I'm pretty confident I might be able to do a little bit. But I'm going to do a demo with AI and using AI to do some basic scripting and to script an object to do a little animation in Roblox Studio. And again, it's all coming from a perspective of if I can do this, anyone can. A busy educator, a young person. I really look at it from a kind of an entry level perspective, because if I can figure that out, then I think it's quite easy then to onboard and support others to follow along and then build from that going forward. A little bit about myself. Thank you to Jeff for the introduction. I'm feeling super old at the minute. I was just talking to Gus as well about this because I turn 48 tomorrow. I still, in my mind, I feel like I'm 12. But yeah, I've been an educator and an artist for about 30 years. I kind of looked at this as a collage of my 30 years. It was kind of hard to put everything together, but it really started back in the late 80s when my cousin got like an old computer, an Amstrad. You can see it there on the right-hand side. And it just blew my mind. And along with that machine came a little pen. I could draw on the screen, and it just blew my mind. And at the same time, we were also kind of using the Atari Pong. I don't know if you guys have heard or seen this before, but it's probably like the simplest game. It'd be the digital game version of tic-tac-toe. So simple, but it blew my mind. It really did. So there's the technology kind of like fascination as a kid, and also I was always really interested and interested in art and being able to kind of draw and paint and things like that. So that's kind of where I went with my career, my studies. I went on to do went to college to do art and design, and I also went on then to do high school teaching. But I've always been interested in that intersection of creativity, education, and technology, and where we are now. I think it's just like I always just keep saying it's a bit of a mind. My mind is just blowing all the time in terms of where this is going and how we as professionals, how we as humans, how we as creatives, how we can kind of hang on to this and really keep us in the center of it. Less about profits and more about people, basically. So I have an ongoing practice also as a painter. And just to give you a flavor of some of my more current work, I'm actually doing some LiDAR scanning of my paintings, and I'm bringing those into a quite accessible VR platform called Spatial, which I'm really interested in what that looks like and where that goes. But also I'm quite interested in how technologies such as blockchain can support creatives to authenticate their work. And also, I suppose, future-proof their practice in many ways. So there's lots of things happening in the background in terms of what I'm doing. I would call myself a technology kind of magpie in many ways. I kind of like pick things and I bring them over and I mix them around. Others might say mad scientist. But yeah, it's been a real privilege, honestly, over the last 2 years to get to know the TCN community and to collaborate and share some ideas, and it's been absolutely amazing. So again, I do thank everyone for that. So moving to the next slide, I suppose my focus in the last few years has really been emerging technologies and immersive technology. So VR being one of those. I was immediately blown away with VR and the potential for it maybe 5.5 years ago, using a very simple Oculus Go. when I popped it on, immediately it blew my mind. And it was a single user experience. It was the multi-brush app, which was back then called Tilt Brush. But this experience of putting a headset on and being transported into an infinite space where you could paint in the air, and it just to this day it still has been a very profound experience. And that continues. And again, it's this kind of like, where is this going, and where are we going with it? You know, what does this technology offer us as educators and creatives? But also, how does it enable us to kind of keep things more inclusive? And how do we shine a light back on areas of our communities that perhaps enables more learners and more people to be more creative in a new way? So the guiding light over the last few years is how existing apps and emerging apps can be leveraged for wide regional, creative, social, and educational content. And that kind of, I would see, encapsulates a lot of the conversations that's been happening with myself, Jeff, and Gustavo and Matt. You know, it's like how can we use this technology and bring the essence of the TCN community into these spaces and make it fun and a real vibrant learning experience, particularly for young people who may physically not be shoulder to shoulder with each other in a learning space. And I think that's a very exciting thing. And it becomes a little less about, I think, the technology and more about how our collective skill sets can be adapted and transferred into these spaces. You know, myself and Gustavo, for example, we piloted some Scratch demonstrations in the now defunct, I suppose, Altspace VR maybe 2 years ago. And I think at that time, Gustavo was based in Mexico City, and it really did, again, just blow my mind that here are two educators, and here we are, like, as avatars, delivering a workshop to the world in creative coding. And I think that has led into many things that's happening in the conversations and ideas that are being shared within the DISC VR conversation. So I'm going to talk about Roblox, and again, I'm going to just say this, and I think I'm hoping this will help everyone to kind of get on board with this. I'm not a Roblox builder. I'm not a professional Roblox builder, but I've allowed myself enough time to kind of get under the hood of Roblox and Roblox Studio to understand the potential for a hugely popular platform like this one. So going back a little bit, like, what is Roblox? So Roblox, I've been delivering workshops here in Dublin to groups of school children around Roblox and how they can effectively be using it to create rather than consume, and, you know, also using it as an opportunity to support young people and the teachers that are teaching them how to be safer in Roblox and things to look out for. And sadly, in Ireland anyway, I can't speak for any other regions, that just doesn't seem to be happening on a school level yet. And for me, it's a no-brainer. You know, if young people, if 90% of a class are on Roblox on a regular basis, I think that should be an indicator to the school board that Roblox should be introduced in some capacity into that learning curriculum, even just from a safety perspective. But again, that just isn't happening, and certainly within the education system in Ireland, wheels do turn a little slowly. But what is Roblox? And it's a question that I posed recently to a group of young people, and the simplest answers are the best ones sometimes. The young person put his hand up and he said, it's a game you go to play other games. I was like, okay, that's pretty good. I was coming up with these big elaborate kind of like, it's this, it's that, the other. But then add a little bit of context to that. Roblox was first launched back in 2006, I believe. And it has kind of grown to have a user base at the moment heading towards 400 million monthly users, which is absolutely crazy. And the statistic that really jumped out at me was that in 2020, Roblox had, you know, basically half of the young people in the States under 16 were on Roblox. So it's kind of like, it's a little bit scary, but it's also, it's very fascinating for me, because on the other side of that, I just don't see, or I haven't seen, that Roblox has been introduced into non-formal or formal educational conversations. So Roblox is a game within a game, and you can go there and you can play other people's games. Some of them can be, in Ireland, we would say as mad as a box of frogs. They can be as abstract can be. And others, particularly more recently, are becoming increasingly more sophisticated. We're seeing games that are being, you know, they're putting a lot of funding, a lot of kind of the teams behind these games for them to really kind of be slick. For example, Adidas has recently launched a game early this year, and it's amazing. Like in a Roblox context, it's amazing. You can go there as an avatar. You can interact with other avatars. You can try Roblox Adidas clothes on and sneakers and things like that. But the whole feel of it is very slick. It's very, very cool. And for me, it's like, okay, what if the same amount of energy was put into creating a Roblox experience for education? What would that look like? And what would the learning outcomes be? And how many young people would use it? And what would they learn from it from a fully virtual perspective? The other thing with Roblox, in addition to it being available on it being available on phones, tablets, PCs, it's now available on VR. And again, you could probably see why I've kind of organically kind of navigated towards Roblox in terms of somewhere that I want to kind of get a better understanding of it. I was quite surprised to see it coming to VR simply because Meta, who have quite a monopoly on the devices at the moment, they have also their Horizon Worlds. And my suspicion is that Horizon Worlds just hasn't been what it wanted, what maybe Meta wanted it to be. And on the other side of that fence, they probably could see how much footfall, so to speak, was going to Roblox on a daily basis. So Roblox is now in VR. The experience is pretty cool. And again, coming from a technology Clubhouse network perspective, the potential for young people to collaborate in building their own games and scenes across the network, across the country, and indeed across the world is here. It's something that Roblox, I think, would be a really good fit for that to happen. So Roblox, and finally, the last point in terms of why I kind of wanted to understand it a little more. My two daughters would literally live their lives on Roblox if it wasn't for me, for the battery life of their iPads, and for me, their mother telling them that they need to go to sleep, basically. So again, and I find it quite fascinating how they interact with each other when they're playing Roblox and other young people as well when they're on there and the different games that they play. The games, again, some of them are amazing. Ones that really stand out would be kind of shopping experiences. There's kind of murder mysteries. I'm not going to name them all. There's literally thousands of them. There's some really random ones that get like huge amounts of people going to it every day, like climb 1,000 and 2,000 stairs, which was an experience that I didn't realize I was going to enjoy quite as much as a avatar. Maybe that's the secret. I don't know. But yeah, and what I've been doing recently is sort of looking at this ability to create and publish your own games from an education perspective. And for this demonstration today, which I will show you, I've created an obby or an obstacle course it's in Roblox language. Last thing before I forget, Roblox has its own currency. Again, I get asked almost on a daily basis for money to buy Robux. And Robux is something that you would purchase using probably a parent's credit card, and then you can go to Roblox and buy all sorts of different skins, items, and what not. So again, I think from a new person perspective to this, it's quite like what is this? But if what I've seen in the months and the year or two that I've been looking at Roblox, from a young person perspective, like Robux would be as valuable, if not more so, than actual physical money. So there's certainly the monetization aspect that could be used as an incentive for young people to be looking at Roblox as more of a place to create. But again, it's where does this go? What does it look like in a few years? Roblox also, it hasn't diminished in user base, it's actually increasing. And the highest demographic of Roblox users at the moment is 17 and older. So what initially Roblox was maybe seen as quite a baby, young person or young person's platform, I think what the statistics are starting to show is that Roblox is actually, young people are growing with it. Roblox is, sorry, growing with the young people. They're not like leaving it behind once they get to a certain age. And I think with that, the actual experience has become a little bit, there's a little bit more sophistication and maturity to them as well. So Roblox Studio is, in simple terms, it is the game's engine. It is the tools behind the experience. It is what is used to create all of the content in Roblox, and it's also what is behind everything that you would see in a game. It could be quite a simple game, or indeed it could be quite a sophisticated game. Roblox Studio is where it is all built, and that's where I have been spending a large part of my time in the last while. Initially, I was quite overwhelmed by this dashboard that you can see. But what I realized quite quickly was a lot of the features on the buttons and the windows are things that you maybe do not need to worry about at all. You know, they're just there. A little bit like Blender and indeed Unity. Initially, it can look very, very overwhelming. But if you have like a guiding light or an entry-level course, bite-sized course, whatever you want to call it, I think quite quickly you can start picking up, okay, I can do this. And, you know, a lot of it is kind of drag and drop. So if you can send an email and attach something to that email, you know, in my opinion, Roblox Studio is something that you could probably hit the ground with and start creating something, you know, for your own learning, not to publish and rival the Adidas space or something like that, but just to start looking at this digital platform that's hugely popular and how that can be incorporated into some learning content for the site that you work within. So what I'm going to do next, if there's any questions, you know, please feel free to add them into the chat. I think that's how it's working. I'm going to do a few demos next. So again, this is where it could come crashing down a little bit, but I have went through this a few times and I think it should be okay. The first one, I'm just going to give everyone a kind of an eyes on for the Roblox app itself, just to look at what the dashboard looks like. And then I'm going to do an actual run through of the obby that's been created for this talk, basically. So here we are. Again, if you have a young person in your clubhouse, or indeed you might know a young person, there's a high probability that that young person, hey, this is kind of like their this is like their street. This is where they kind of hang out in some way. They have friends on here that they might know in person, but indeed they might have a whole bank of friends that they have never met in person at all. And I think that point right there, in my opinion, that uncertainty around multi-user digital spaces and young people within them, I think that uncertainty has, I suppose, the knee-jerk reaction in my first-hand experience working within education systems here in Ireland, the knee-jerk reaction is just to shut it down. It doesn't happen under our roof. If you're going to do Roblox, you go and do it in your own time. And I think that's a problem. That really is. That's something that we should be, I think we should be kind of challenging that and looking at, okay, you know, there's 400 million kids on here every month. Most of them in school. I think it's time we started as educators, start looking at how we can kind of like, you know, roll with this a little more rather than just shutting the conversation down. So I mentioned the Adidas space. I'm just going to click on that one. I'm not going to go into it because it can be a little crazy, but just to give you a flavor of what it looks like. They have, you know, you can get tokens, you can try on some of their, your avatar can try on some of their equipment. And overall, the whole feel of it is, it's kind of like a really cool store that you might go into in a really cool mall. That, for me, that's the way it feels. Again, side note, this is now available in VR. You know, we could go there virtually with our friends. We could go there virtually on our own, and you can click things in VR and it'll bring you to a store. And I think that's where you see big corporations like Adidas being like, oh, okay, you know, when this equipment is a little bit lighter and more slick, you know, we could actually use this as somewhere where people actually buy our products. This is one of the cooler ones. I know McDonald's, a lot of kind of big labels have all got similar ones, but this is one of the ones that really kind of caught my eye. And I used it as a tiny bit of inspiration for what I was building for this demo for TCN. So yeah, other things, you can buy your Roblox here. I haven't bought any. I'm not even sure. I don't, as a rule, I don't go in to play the games much. I would watch and listen to my kids play it. I'm more interested from that kind of the building perspective, the Roblox studio perspective, and how we can effectively look at these platforms and these spaces as a blank canvas or a blank notepad, or indeed a collaboration space for a virtual clubhouse group of young people who are building something together, or they're building a game, and things like that. I'm going to show you the marketplace. The marketplace is something where you would use your Roblox to buy different items. The thing that really struck me with the marketplace is that, and I'm going to show you this as well, I can create something, and I'm going to just, for example, for demonstration purposes, I created a coin, a TCN coin, a spinning coin. When you grab it or you touch it in Roblox, it does that satisfying ping. But the really interesting part here is that if I can then make that available on the marketplace. I can call it a TCN coin. I can put it on the marketplace, and other people from across the world, wherever they are, could go there, and then they could use the same coin in their game. And I think that's a really interesting feature, because if you had like a series of clubhouses that were working on different obstacle courses or games or scenes, and they were making bespoke items and putting them on the marketplace, we could be sharing those between each other, almost like a storeroom that we can kind of borrow each other's equipment and build something. It's kind of storeroom meets Lego box with lots of different colors and things like that. So that's a quick look at the Roblox dashboard. Again, I wouldn't be going there myself. The games are pretty cool, but it's not somewhere where I would invest a lot of my time. I'm more interested from the Roblox studio perspective. So with that in mind, here we are at the obby, which is short for obstacle course. I now know, I didn't know this. So you're looking through the camera. Okay, I'm going to just give you a quick run through of the actual scene, and then I'm going to do it and actually play the game, and I'll talk you through some of the main points in this. Again, all of these objects were either available in the marketplace, or I created them and saved them and replicated them. So, my point there is, as a new user to Roblox Studio, it didn't really take too long to be able to figure out the drag and drop procedure using the marketplace, and then indeed how to use some of the parts and sculpt them into kind of feature in this as an experience. Okay, so do you know what I'll actually do, just to give you, before I get to this part, I'm going to open a new scene just so you can kind of see what that looks like. So Roblox is free. Roblox Studio is free. You just need an account. You do need a relatively good computer for this to work well. The fans in my gaming PC have kicked in here. So it probably wouldn't run very well off a lower or a mid-range kind of PC or laptop. Just to keep that in mind. Okay, so we're looking at a blank scene. Okay, we have this kind of infinite kind of space. We have our spawn point here in the middle. So when we press play, this is where your character will spawn from. So that's it. Like, you've got your sky, you've got your infinite space, and this is your blank canvas. This is your blank notebook. This is where you can kind of start going, okay, well, what if I can bring something in here, and can I bring a logo in? Can I bring in some existing obstacles to create a little obby or obstacle course? So I'm going to just show you really quick the TCN coin that I just spoke about. So I'll type in, should be here. There it is, respawning coin. Okay, so this is the one that I created earlier. I did use an existing spinning coin. I just went into that and I kind of changed it and the graphic and the color of it basically, and then just renamed it as the TCN respawning coin. So very simple, you just grab it and you pull it in, and there it is. Tell me it has scripts, that's okay. And there it is. Okay, so what does that mean? So now we have a coin. If I press play, it's going to drop me at the spawn point, and now we have a spinning coin that's branded with the TCM logo. Quite simple, quite straightforward. There's a little bit of work to do in the wings of that to kind of bring in the graphic. But a lot of these kind of fundamental parts are already available in the marketplace. You just bring in, it's a little bit like this Scratch, you know, where you can kind of remix different kind of pieces of work and things like that. It's very similar to that. Maybe just not as straightforward as maybe Scratch is, but it's something that is relatively straightforward once you get the hang of it. I'm going to stop that, and just to show you something else that you can, you know, so we've got our spinning coin. You're kind of looking at the sky. Let's make it nighttime. So you have different backgrounds as well, different kind of scene, and to add atmosphere. So let's make it a night. So again, it's just drag and drop. There we go. So I did not make that scene. That's just part of the marketplace. The chances are young people are already doing this and they don't even think it's a thing. They're probably going, oh, yeah, that's like, you know, that's just like reading a text message or something. And I think that kind of, I suppose the canyon between maybe young people who are organically using this technology and drag and dropping and making scenes, and perhaps educators at the other side who are like, whoa, what's Roblox Studio and how do we do it and how do we use it? I think that's the problem here, really. And if we had that kind of stepping stone between the two, I think it would be a really interesting place. And I think what would happen from that would be very exciting. What would happen from that would be very exciting. So yeah, again, you can collaborate. You can see up here in the top right-hand corner. So you can have, I'm not sure if there's a limit on the collaborators, but you know, if you're already connected with your friends or your colleagues in Roblox, you can collaborate on this space. So again, like across time zones, different countries, different states, this could be a really cool thing for a group of young people over a period of time to build something out based on their learning now and where that goes. I think could be a really exciting thing to explore. So yeah, again, I'm not going to go too much into the actual features, simply because if I did, well, I don't know all of them, and I think that's a good thing because it really illustrates that you don't really need to be an expert and know all of these like back of your hand. You just need to know the basics, and then from that you get a little better. And there'll be a few cul-de-sacs and a few dead ends and stuff, but you can kind of learn from that, bring it back, and then move forward. But I think from an education perspective, if you keep it simple and achievable, I think that's a good place to start. And then you come back the next week or the following week, and the kids start telling you what's what. That's how it goes usually, right? So yeah, I'm going to go into should be able to go back into the obby. So I did spend a little bit more time on this with this demonstration in mind. This is an obby. I tried to I was thinking of like, what would a Roblox space that represents the network look like? And again, this is just me. What the young people would come up with and what the educators would come up with is I'm sure a lot different. But how cool would that look like if there was various sites that were creating a collaboration TCN obstacle course, and that could be used for, I brought in billboards and things like that and posters like, if Adidas are doing it, like why shouldn't the network, why shouldn't this space be, this platform be used for advertising the great work that you guys do across the world effectively. So yeah, I'll do a quick kind of a fly past, I suppose, and then I'll play the game just so you see what that looks like as well. So I did pick a city, and we're on this kind of a plane as well. The objects here, I want you to pay attention to these guys on the right. This is kind of where, these are the objects that I have actually been experimenting with AI and bringing in some scripts to make these change color, and also to kind of like, what would you call it? Like create little bubbles or little balls that kind of bounce out of it. So the idea is that AI will do the scripting and I come up with the idea. And I think fundamentally where emerging technologies such as AI is going, I think that's a really key thing to keep in mind from my perspective is how do we keep a hold on the steering wheel here. You know, how do we, you know, keep our ideas part of this rather than just handing it all over to AI to kind of build something out. So this is my attempt at demonstrating that this is, I think Roblox Studio is a really great space to kind of start thinking about where technology is and where it's going, and how we as educators could start looking at that intersection of a popular platform like Roblox and AI, for example. So we have our steps up. I've went heavy on the branding just because I just took some screen grabs from the website. I have like a platform. It's kind of got like some trees in it. We have some robots. This platform that the trees are on is actually going to change color as well. And again, I used AI to randomize the color. So you'll see when I press play in this, you'll see this main platform will change into kind of lots of neon colors and things like that. So again, that was used using ChatGPT. And the other thing that I kind of figured out was using like buttons. If I press this as an avatar, that will happen. And there's a lot of learning, a lot of STEAM and STEM learning within that. And again, I think that's a really great way to demonstrate like a game or a platform such as a game like Roblox can be Steamified, if you want to call it that. So this button, we will press it, and these sky stairs, I'm going to call them, will bring us up to this area up here. Again, you'll notice that the steps that go up will be randomized colors, and I used AI to help with that. So this idea that AI can play a part, but it isn't taking full control over the experience. I'm not going to give you a sneak peek of the actual obstacle course. We're going to play that now in a second. And then we have slides. I haven't actually slid off these yet as an avatar, but they just look kind of cool. Yeah, so that's kind of it. So again, like if this was the first kind of stage of a collaboration across various sites in the network, you know, I think there's loads of space here for, let's say every physical network site had a stage like this one, and that was their corner to build something cool. You know, I think there's lots of ideas and lots of things that we could kind of build out on this, but for now, I'm going to hit the play button. So go back to the start. I'm going to hit play. Hopefully it won't crash. Didn't crash at all today. Okay, we're in. That's cool. So you'll see here just to the right, we have our cylinders that are changing color, and they are emitting. They were supposed to be bubbles actually, and in my mind, bubbles would float, but these don't really seem to be floating. They're more like tennis balls or something like that. But that's, yeah, we're gonna look at that with AI in a second. For now, we're gonna do like a run through. So again, like these billboards could represent like a weekly or a quarterly kind of update. You know, if we knew that perhaps, you know, 1,000 young people were going to be in this space playing something at some point, or collaborating, it could be a really cool idea to have this as a notice board. You know, I know Matt did a really cool thing in Engage, the VR space, with the history of the network, and I thought it was really, really, really powerful. And again, I think that could really transfer into this space like really well. So again, up onto the platform, notice it's changing color. That wasn't me, that was AI that did that, I won't lie. We have our trees. This is the button. So if you look just to the right-hand side of this kind of area here, you're going to see some multicolored steps that start, hopefully, when I press this button, they should go up into the main obstacle course. So I've just pressed the button. You can just see them moving there, running around. So every time I press that button, those steps will be a different color. So I know it doesn't really sound like a big deal, but for me, it's kind of like, whoa, that's like, I'm a super scripter now. I get these, wow, AI is a super scripter now. So we have a slide. This slide experience always reminds me of how I always end up going down slides. Ready? Yeah, pretty much. That's like, oh, yeah. And up the steps. For some reason in Roblox, there's a lot of interest in running up steps. Like thousands of people go into these spaces. So we're now on the platform for the obstacle course. You can see it's branded. Again, these doors was drag and drop from the marketplace. I just branded. I brought in like the guys had been working in Engage with a logo, and I borrowed it and brought it in. Just to kind of, the idea is if wherever the users are, they'd be able to see that it's a TCN space. I think that's quite important. So hit the button. That's super loud. Okay, so here we are. We have Lava, which we know is a huge hit with young people in my house anyway. It's a huge hit in terms of like watching shows about it. We have these little kind of robot guys. I think these are good guys though. They don't yeah, they don't kill, which is good. The lava does, and we have our spinning coins in the top. And over here, and I probably won't get across that. I'm not going to try, but you'll see the other side, we have a drooling zombie. This guy, when I go over there, he will start trying to get me. Okay, I'm not going to do it because this will kill me. But the drooling zombie, and then if I get to the top, at the far side of that, there's a spaceship that if you go into it, do you know what? I'll try and see if I can go into it. No, there you go. But there's a spaceship, you go into the spaceship, and it will actually take you, you can fly it basically, which is really cool. And again, we could put some logos and things like that. But if that was the starting point and young people were in here, where does that go in terms of what do they learn and what do they bring to it after a short period of time? I would be pretty certain what they could create would be way better than this really, really quickly. Okay, so you can see my so-called bubbles. More like tennis balls, but what I'm going to just demonstrate, I know we're kind of coming tight on the time. So I'm going to stop this, and I am going to go and show how I was able to use AI basically to script that to happen. Okay, so I'm going to head back into so I prepared this earlier, just I was afraid of it crashing. So, so the prompt was, so the programming language that Roblox runs off is called Lua, Lua, and very simply, I asked ChatGPT to create a Lua script for a Roblox part. So the cylinder is a part to create a Roblox script for a Roblox part to change color randomly. Okay, and again, seconds. Here we go. So I copy the code. All right, I go back to the scene and go to the part. Let's grab a block just for this demonstration. Just down on that. So here's our part. Okay. So I've highlighted it here. So we need to go over to the Explorer just to find where that is. So this is the part that I've just brought in. I know this because it's highlighted in blue. I'm going to tap it once. I'm going to make it a demo 3 part. Okay. Press that button, hit script. So this brings up the scripting screen. So we're effectively, this is kind of like the scratch under the hood, the remix kind of aspect. Okay, so this is the scripting that I'm now going to attach to that part. I'm going to remove that and paste in what AI just created. All right, I'm going to save it and I'm going to hit play. So that part should change color. Is it changing color? It is changing color. Okay, I felt like I was like 10 minutes there. Okay, it's changing color. Okay, so it's quite straightforward, it's quite simple, but I think within that, I think just to demonstrate that having your ChatGPT open and being able to kind of place scripts into parts that are very drag and drop, I think that's a really great place to start if people are busy or people don't quite get Roblox Studio or they haven't quite got their heads around AI. I think just doing that and saving it and then working from that onwards, I think it's a really powerful place and a really achievable place to start. And that's indeed where I started. And now I have bubbles that don't fly. They just look like one of these tennis balls. So yeah, that's kind of it. I hope that was of some interest. There are loads and loads of other aspects of Roblox Studio that we could go into, and they're just wormholes. But I think that was probably as best of an overview of my journey to date with Roblox Studio. What I can confirm is I'm going to keep kind of plugging away at this, and I think it's a hugely powerful, creative, and really interesting platform to use, particularly in an educational context. And just been able to have a little bit of understanding of how some of it works and being able to share that with other educators and young people is something that I'm really happy to do. So yeah, I know with 15 minutes left. Hopefully that was of use. If there's any questions, I'm more than happy to try and answer them if I can.
Yeah, so anybody can ask questions in the chat or just raise your hand. Some of those up there. Right. Yes. Yes, Brittany said this should be a workshop. Yeah, so didn't you do a workshop at the annual conference? Yeah.
Yeah, there was
So,
a workshop at the conference. It just didn't involve the AI aspect to it.
mm.
But again, it was the fundamentals were there. Yeah, it was kind of looking at building a scene using existing assets.
So one question I have is related to VR. So the experience in VR, Barry, is it just through, not just, but is the VR experience mostly playing the existing apps, or can you do some aspects of creating while you're in
Um, no, the quick answer there, Jeff, is no. I think it's a little bit complicated because my sense is like Meta probably didn't really want to have to bring Roblox into their platform or into their into their conversation, shall we call it. I just think as the figures increase on a weekly basis with how many people are using Roblox, and in fact, and in addition to that, they also have the Roblox Studio. I think their hand were kind of forced. So my point there really is that Meta have allowed Roblox onto their equipment, onto their platform, but it's not like it's quite limited. Like I could publish this game right here and we could go there, but you wouldn't be able to build perhaps the way we could build in Horizon Worlds, for example. And I think that's by design. They don't want people just using their equipment and going to Roblox and building really cool stuff. The other thing, and I heard this as a rumor, maybe someone on the call might have heard this as well, that Meta are rumored to be building a Roblox Studio platform experience, something similar to this. And I think that could be a really interesting one to keep an eye on.
Nice. A question from the chat. Alana wants to know what is the difference? What is the real difference between like Roblox and Minecraft? She's really unfamiliar with both.
In my opinion, I wouldn't have a huge knowledge of Minecraft. I would see Minecraft as kind of like it would be more of a building experience in terms of you kind of build, you build worlds in there. Whereas Roblox, the platform Roblox is more of a game within a game or games within a game. So there'd be a much wider tapestry of experiences in Roblox. Like, as I mentioned at the beginning, like, really random box of frogs kind of experiences through to that Adidas kind of store and everything in between. Whereas I would see from my understanding of Minecraft, it would be much more kind of like a structured, almost Lego experience where you kind of build, you have a certain set of tools and you build in there and collaborate. So there would be similarities, but I would see Roblox as more of a kind of a wider tapestry of ecosystems.
Hey Barry, it's dope how you put the AI script into a part in your scene. Can you can add script like that to the whole scene? Like, is that how you do make it? That I was thinking about the raining Legos thing that you showed earlier.
Yeah.
Mind mentioning that?
Yeah, yes, and this kind of the raining Lego kind of set me into this kind of wormhole, which you mentioned there, Matt. So the quick answer to your question is I think you can try to use AI to script anything in Roblox. Like it's all there. Like if you look at the part here, and again, if this is kind of seeming a little overwhelming, please don't let it be. You know, it's just a matter of getting accustomed to it. But this part here is this block, okay? But you can click in there and you can add many things to it. So things really basic, you know, you could add logos, you could bring in JPEGs, PNGs. So with that in mind, to answer your question, Matt, I think you can try to use AI to script anything. You know, I think next thing I might try to see if actual the skyboxes or the environments can be used. We can use AI to kind of look at how, you know, could we make it, you know, start with morning and then over a series of seconds can it change to afternoon and then in the evening. The quick answer, I think we can do that. I think it's just a matter of time of maybe few people trying it and working out how we can kind of formulate like how we can offer that to other creators to try it and educators to try it as well. I'm not going to try it now though because it's perfect. It's a perfect opportunity to crash and burn. So I might come back to you on that one, Matt.
Nice. No, that's cool though. But to know that that's possible, and to kind of like watch you go back and forth. Quick click on chat. Quick click over there. Make something I'd say for myself that felt really intimidating, a little demystified. Nice. I'm sticking in. I'm gonna stick in the chat too. For you were referencing the skybox generators over there for folks that don't know.
Yeah.
There's a link to what Barry's referring to. Yeah, yeah. Do you want to say what that is?
The name of the actual the skybox for Roblox, it's kind of a terminology used for the background basically. So, you know, if you can remember when I first set up the blank scene, it was just like an infinite sky, the way I would see it anyway. And the same experience when I first tried VR on is what like it literally blew my mind. So the skybox would be that kind of like infinite sky around your scene. So there's a whole array of different existing scenes or skyboxes, sorry, that you can use. But more recently, we have started to see in our collective conversations that there are now AI generative skyboxes that are appearing or services that you can go in VR basically, and you can use AI. So you can, you know, we can arrange for a meetup in VR on this platform, and someone can suggest that we want it to be a forest or we want it to be, you know, and in a manga style, and that collaboration will then turn in using AI. It'll turn that into that environment very, very quickly. So again, and I kind of bore myself with this statement, but where is that going? What's that going to look like when the equipment's, you know, more slick and AI is more advanced, and, you know, technology and VR is way more slick than what we're using at the moment. It becomes more about conversation. I think it becomes, I think it actually pushes humanity and the educator into the focus, because we need to be in there. Because it'll just be, there'll be no boundaries then, you know, people will just be off doing lots of different things under their own steam.
So cool.
Brittany had a question in the chat. Can you model your own stuff and bring in those elements? If so, can you do that in the studio, or do you have to use do that in another application? So Skybox was one of them, but like she may be talking about actual like objects too, like maybe in Unity or Gravity Sketch or something like that.
Yeah. The quick answer to that question is yes. Blender, even Tinkercad, you can create your own assets and bring them over. I think there's a little bit of a glitch with Roblox Studio at the moment, is just that with the mesh, the covering, the actual, I've been bringing over a few objects, very simple ones, but losing the mesh on them. So it might have to go I'm going to just use an example. It could be like, something really basic from Tinkercad to Blender and then to Roblox. The Blender part would be covering with making the mesh be able to be transferable. But the quick answer is, yeah, you can build things in other platforms and export them in here, providing, I think it's OBJ files and GLTF files will transfer over relatively straightforward. Again, how cool could that be across wide regional collaborations?
The last thing that I would like to bring up is just the potential of Roblox to like unify like Clubhouse Network and young people in activism and expression in that manner. One of you all, we shared during the chat, one of our chats, the kind of rally that we had seen take place in Roblox. Can y'all expand on that? Or Barry, you were one who shared that, right?
I don't think I think you sent it to me. But I know the one you're talking about. It was the avatars with the Palestinian flag. Is that the one?
Yeah, like the rally. Yeah.
Yeah, like again, for me, I think firstly looking at the footfall or the monthly users of Roblox globally is it's just phenomenal. Heading towards 400 million. And why, activism should be front row center of that, climate, equality, all of the things that we know are huge conversation points. Why don't we see, maybe we should see more of that in platforms like Roblox? Making a poster, bringing in content, logos, writing out a statement. Like these are all things that could be really easily formulated for young people to be empowered to do that, to kind of use this space.
Yeah. Yeah. So essentially there was rallies, there could be activism rallies around a theme, a topic that young people from all around the world get in their avatars, bring, and then was this one in particular was screen captured, set to some music, and shared, really widely. So yeah, that's the first time I had seen anything like that happen in a space like this. I think a lot of us adults may think like, oh man, this Roblox, this game playing that's taking over the minds of my kids and my my members. But this, I think, has seen some super creative aspects of it. And then that actually was an eye opener for me to be like, man, this can actually be like self-expression, political, youth activism around topics too.
100%. I agree. I agree. And I think it's just showing the way for those fundamental tools to be used and then stepping back. I think that's what I would see in it. And again, just to reiterate, if I can do this, I promise everyone can give this a shot for sure.
Great. Well, thank you. We are at time. But if you have any more questions, feel free to follow up with Matt and I, but we can share that on Barry. Thank you all for participating and joining in. And please share this with your members as well. The recording should be up on the Discover page, but you should also check out the Discover page on Clubhouse Connect. And yeah, thank you all for joining. Take care.
Thanks, Barry. So cool.
Thanks, everyone. Bye, guys. Bye, everyone.